bring up the BlackBerry issue. Are you satisfied with the explanation they've given so far?
If there is a security issue, we need access. Security will override the right to privacy.
We've just had the issue of POSCO and Vedanta. How do you secure the aspirations of young India?
We will not allow these extractive industries if it means destroying the environment and the natural habitat of the tribal peoples.
You know, an issue that you're clearly worried about and the country is worried about at this point in time, and that is the issue of Naxals. You have, of course, offered to initiate talks with them, hasn't gotten very far. How worried are you at this point in time? Several months ago, you said that you were looking at a time frame of 3 years to actually be able to get rid of this problem. How concerned are you at this point in time that you're nowhere close to being able to achieve that?
I don't think I used the word rid. I said I thought I said we will be able to contain the problem. I am very worried, like everyone should be worried. We're not going to allow an armed liberation struggle to succeed in this country. If anyone wants an armed liberation struggle to succeed and overthrow parliamentary democracy as we know it, he or she is welcome to it. I'm opposed to it. And I believe overwhelming number of people in this country will be opposed to the destruction of the parliamentary form of democracy. Their stated objective, declared objective is to overthrow the state through an armed liberation struggle. As far as they are concerned, Parliament is a pigsty. And the parliamentary form of democracy is the worst form of exploitation. Now, there is a small number which perhaps subscribes to this ideology, but I think the overwhelming majority in this country rejects this ideology. If they want to preach this ideology, they're welcome to do so. Anyone can get up in Hyde Park and abuse the Queen. Anyone can get up in India and preach any ideology. The CPI-ML party preaches the same ideology, and that is not a banned organization. They are allowed to preach their ideology, field candidates. The CPI-ML, the Marxist-Leninist.
Right.
But the CPI-Maoist wants to use force, violence, and therefore we are opposed to it. So we say, give up violence and then do what you like. And if you give up violence and if you want to talk to the government, we are willing to talk to you. All that we say is abjure violence. At the moment, they are not willing to do so. Therefore, the state governments are engaging them, as they have engaged them for the last 10 years, with limited success. We have now extended greater support to the state governments, to be precise, since October last year, when the Cabinet Committee took the decisions. So it's not even 10 months since we extended greater degree of support to the state government.
But can I ask you a direct question? In the last 10 months, do you actually feel that you've covered more ground? Do you think you're pretty much where you were 10 months ago? Are you feeling a little bit more confident about the measures that you've taken and your engagement with the Maoists 10 months down the line?
Well, in the last 10 months, we have engaged the Maoists. Earlier, they had a free run. It's only in the last 10 months that the state governments have found the confidence to engage the Maoists, because the central government forces are supporting them. Despite Silda, Tadmetla, Chingavaram, Gadichiroli, which were 4 major setbacks, despite that, the number of security forces who've lost their lives up to August 31 this year is less than last year, which means that the security forces are engaging them, taking casualties, but still engaging them. Now, I think it's pretty much a stalemate today. I think there is some advance in some areas and some setbacks in some areas. I don't think that we can yet talk in terms of winning or losing.
What have been the major setbacks that you just spoke about?
Silda, Tadmetla, Chingavaram, Gadichiroli, the major setbacks. They have attacked infrastructure more this year than last year. They've destroyed schools, public buildings, railway stations, telephone towers. So those are setbacks. At the same time, security forces have made advances in some areas and secured some areas. It's pretty much of a stalemate today. pretty much of a equal, an equal and opposite force.
So there is once again no innovative out-of-the-box solutions to your mind at
Tell
this
me.
point in time? No, I'm asking you.
You're a bright young person, tell me now.
Is there a solution that you think will work at this point in time?
There are no innovative solutions when you are engaged in enforcing law and order in your own state against people who are your own people. In fact, you have to proceed with great degree of caution.
Are you getting the political support that you're looking for?
There's very broad political support. There are also powerful voices of dissent. There are also civil society organizations which are, they believe it's right, working against our strategy. So we have support, we have dissent, we have opposition.
Okay, I want to throw this open to the audience because we've got a couple of people who have questions on this. Rajan, you have a question on this.
Honorable Minister, you talked of an India which is based on the aspirations of the people of this country. And, while the Naxal problem is a law and order issue as well, the root cause of
It's not only a law and order issue, we have never described it as such.
Correct. So I say the root cause actually is, the increasing income inequality, and I think more importantly, the lifestyle inequalities that we see today. So, and a lot of that has to do with, the way the development initiatives actually reach out to the backwards and the tribal class of people. So, we're talking of innovative solutions. Is something being done differently today to ensure that development initiatives actually reach out to them? And is there a role that young Indians can play to make that more effective?
I don't subscribe to this root cause theory. It's not as though the tribals are up in arms against the state. These are upper class, upper caste, ideologically driven leaders who have formed this CPI Maoist, the earlier MCC and PWG, and they have recruited people to fight this ideological battle through an armed struggle. Most tribals tend to be supportive, not because they understand the ideology or they support the ideology, but because of fear.
Yeah.
They have no option. In fact, the poll taken by CNNIBN showed that 70% of the people, if I remember right, don't support this. But since these are armed cadres, armed liberation struggle, armed cadres, they're caught between the state represented by the police on one side and the armed cadres of the CPI Maoist on the other. But we acknowledge that poverty, deprivation, neglect are contributing factors, which is very different from saying they're root causes. There is poverty elsewhere in India too. There's very entrenched poverty in parts of Andhra Pradesh, parts of Karnataka, parts of Gujarat, but there is no Naxalite movement there. But these are contributory factors. So we have to address it on two fronts. One is the development front, and the other is the law and order, police action front. We are addressing it in both fronts. Now, which takes precedence is purely a metaphysical argument. In some places it's possible to do development, then follow it up by setting up police stations and securing the place. In some places you can't even enter. In the old Bastar district, which is now Dantewada, Bijapur and Bastar, you can't even enter the place. Even the district collector does not go beyond this district collectorate. Now, not to speak of doctors, nurses, teachers, veterinarians, and road building contractors going into those areas. So in those areas, the police have to go in first to secure those areas before any development can take place. So depending upon the place and the area, we are emphasizing development first to be followed by police action.
Okay.
In some areas we say police action will take place first and then followed by development.
You said, sir, a few days ago that you were hoping to find a starting point to actually be able to engage with people in Kashmir at this point in time.
The solution to Kashmir would necessarily have to factor in the desire for greater autonomy.
Should development not be made the #1 priority?
Development is the #1 priority. You have to create the objective conditions where development work can take place.